And thank you all for clicking whatever buttons Zoom asks you to click. And I will pass it over to the wonderful, wonderful, double wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Carolina. And thank you so much for leading us today, Carolina.
Thank you, Brian. It's as I mentioned earlier, it's really just delightful to be in this group. In particular, you know, the path of being present for whatever emotions arise, and in really just navigating and cultivating, you know, the way of holding ourselves with compassion through whatever we're experiencing. So the invitation this morning is to sit back and find comfort in whatever place you become aware of in the body. Just, you know, find a way to, yeah, okay, so I'm going to set my timer, make sure that we go for 20 minutes or so, more or less. So, yeah, it's welcoming this moment. I invite you to sit back. And as you close your eyes, if you would like, or simply gaze down, finding a way of connecting with the body, noticing the areas of contact of the body with the surfaces where you are. And if it's possible, welcoming this moment just as it is. The invitation is to bring awareness to the present moment. Noticing that this moment is like this. And noticing if there's any judgment of the moment, judgment of the self, whatever thoughts of judgment come. And being able to let that go and simply be here now, just as you are and just as this moment is. Bringing the attention to the contact of the feet on the ground. Simply noticing the sensations. Of the contact of the feet on the ground. Noticing sensations of coolness or warmth or neutral. And allowing the sensation of being grounded in this moment, being here and now. noticing with loving awareness how it feels to be in the body, how this body feels, this body, which is your home. With all of the imperfections of the body. With loving awareness and acceptance. And noticing as you become grounded in this moment, bringing the awareness to even the space you're in. Recognizing that at this moment you're in a space that you've chosen to be in for now, for this moment. The walls that surround you, the ceiling above you, the floor beneath you. This is where you are right now in this moment. With the awareness of being held by earth. And the connection, the shared humanity. Of being held by earth along with all sentient beings on earth. And bringing the attention again to the body. In meditation, we can always begin again. Noticing the contact of your hands resting on your lap or pillow, the cushion, chair, wherever your hands are resting. And noticing the sensations in the hands. Noticing coolness or warmth or neutral. allowing whatever sensations are there to be there, just as they are, with loving awareness. And for a moment, if you notice, or when you notice any discomfort or tension in the body, see if it's possible to bring a sense of softening to any part of the body that needs special attention right now. Notice if there's any sense of an emotional tightening, bringing special attention to any sense of fear, any sense of difficult emotions that need softening if it's possible, or simply compassion, understanding. With the self compassion phrases of, this is hard, bringing a sense of self compassion to any hard emotion that needs just a hug, an emotional internal hug. And if there's a possible way of soothing, bringing the right hand over the heart and just allowing for that sensation of the hand on the heart, or softening. For a moment of self compassion and kindness. And bringing now the attention to the breath, always available to us, our loyal companion. Just simply feeling that rhythm of the breath in the body. With the hand on heart, an awareness of that soothing breath, the rhythm of the breath in the body. allowing the breath to become a source of self-compassion, a source of calm. And whenever you notice the activity of the mind, whatever thoughts or feelings are being triggered, bring in a sense of friendliness and kindness towards the mind, a compassion towards the constant activity of the mind. Just, if possible, letting that go for this moment and returning the attention to the sensations of the next breath, the sensations of the touch of the hand on your heart, or whatever anchor is helpful for you in this moment, whether it's sound, sensations in the body, the rhythm of the breath. And as we come to the end of this sit, I'd like to end with the quote from Spirit Rock this week. May your spirit be strong. May you be safe. May you be healthy. And may you be free from fear. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Perhaps take that one soothing, beautiful last breath of an intentional meditation breath. And returning to our connection as a H.O.P.E group. Being present for each other. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you, Carolina. Yeah, thank you so much for leading
You're welcome.
us. Yeah. And hey, everyone, welcome back. Although we didn't go anywhere. I'm so glad that we all get to sit together. And for those that join mid-sit, and for those with the recording also, maybe listening later, welcome. This is the InsightLA Mindfulness and Deep Suffering Practice Group. We're a practice group. We're an affinity group. This is a great group. We'd like to call this the H.O.P.E group, healing ourselves through the present experience. Hope. Yes. And I'm so glad today. And again, thank you, Carolina, so much for leading us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you in advance for leading us on our closing sit later on, just for a minute or two. And I'm so glad to introduce the wonderful Patrick Park, who is amazing. Patrick, you're amazing. I don't know if you know that. You're amazing. Patrick and I, it's so nice as I've gotten older, and I think others can relate to this. As you get older, it's hard to make friends. It's hard to make friends as they get older. It's so easy when we're kids, don't even realize how easy it was. And Patrick and I, we worked together at the Suicide Prevention Center Crisis Hotline. Patrick was a volunteer crisis counselor and then became a shift supervisor. Uh, and Patrick is awesome. More than just that, of course. Patrick is a husband and dad, an amazing musician and guitar player and singer-songwriter. Is a singer-songwriter, is that I can say that, right? I can say that. Better than Bob Dylan, some people like. Can I say that? Okay, he's shaking his head. No, I can't say that. Okay. But and Patrick has been a long time uh, Zen practitioner. And I get so much out of your talks, Patrick. And maybe someday you can come and give a talk about retreats and what happens on a retreat. And I know you've done more than 100 retreats. And for those of us that are a little scared, I'm a little scared by retreats actually. So maybe someday you can come and talk to us about retreats and what happens when we dedicate time to our practice. But that's not what Patrick is talking about today. Today is talking about liking and disliking and grasping and suffering and this human conundrum many of us find ourselves in. And so Patrick, again, thanks for being here, man. I really, really I appreciate it. I know the group appreciates it, and really looking forward to your talk today. Maybe until about 11:15. Is that cool? Something in that ballpark? Or 11 LA time. Oh wait, can you unmute yourself, Patrick? Did I mess it? Oh, there you go. Sorry, change the setting. Thanks, Patrick. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Brian. Um, so, something that has been just really apparent to me the last few weeks on the crisis lines, um, and as well as in my life, as well as with people in my life that I see going through things, um, is well, I'll say this. So I'm always surprised a little bit when people are surprised when things come up, right? Um, you know, uh, on the crisis line, what you notice a lot is that there's a theme of loss, that is always coming up, and that can be, loss of financial security, loss of sense of self, loss of like loved ones, loss of uh, you know, sense of well-being, loss of uh, the list goes on and on and on. And the thing is that these experiences are not uncommon. They're actually inevitable, and they're inevitable for all of us. We're all going to experience these losses. We're all going to experience, you know, loss of sense of well-being, lots of sense of, of loved ones, loss of sense of security, maybe a loss of financial stability. So there's always, 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 always stuff that's happening. And there's a great story. You know, I may have told it before, but it's a good one. So if you've heard it before, here it is again. But you know, there's this story about this old man, and he's a practitioner, Zen practitioner, and he's a farmer. And one day, you know, this horse just kind of shows up in his paddock, you know, and all of his neighbors are like, "Dude, you're so lucky. You just got a free horse, you know, like that's so you have the best luck." And he's like, "Well, we'll see." So then his son one day is riding the horse, right? And he gets bucked off and he breaks his arm really badly. And then everyone's like, "Oh, that's such terrible luck, you know. Your son fell and broke his arm, and you know you're barely getting by as it is. Like, what are you gonna do? Now he can't help you in the fields, and God, that's terrible luck." And he says, "Well, we'll see." You know, and then a couple of weeks later, you know, the army shows up and they're recruiting all the young men to go off to war. But his son is badly injured and he can't go, right? So again, everyone's like, "Oh, what a great stroke of luck, you know. So lucky that your son broke his arm, couldn't go to war, you know. Well, we'll see." You know, so this is really important. Mark Twain has this quote that I just love. It, later in his life, and he said something to the effect of, you know, "I'm an old man now, and I've lived a long and difficult life, and it's been filled with so many hardships and misfortunes, most of which never happened." So all the time, right? What happens is things are coming and going. Things are always changing, you know. In the display of our mind stream, everything is always changing. And that's what it occurs. It's in this display. And we get attached to all these things. You know, sometimes we really want something to change and it just doesn't feel like it will. You know, other times we get something that we really don't like. And we're just, fuck, I can't get rid of this. No matter what I do, I can't make it go away. You push it away and you push it away, it comes back stronger and stronger, you know, makes us feel out of control, makes us feel crazy, you know, because no matter what we do, we can't get rid of this thing, whether it's a thought, whether it's the sensation of anxiety, whether it's depression, you know, sense of fatigue, a sense of hopelessness. You know, we don't want this. We don't like this. Try to push it away with everything we have. But then it just comes back stronger, you know. Um, and in Zen, we say, you know, the great way is not difficult for those who do not make like and dislike. And so that is profoundly simple. And in practice, it can be very hard to do, you know, because these likes and dislikes, they happen automatically, you know, and it's not bad that you have them. It's not another excuse to beat yourself up, right? I know that that's a habit that a lot of people have, you know. We get something that we don't like, whether it's a feeling of anxiety, whether it's a feeling of depression, you know, we don't like this feeling. It's like, why? This feeling is bad. I shouldn't have this feeling. And then that quickly turns into, I'm bad for having this feeling. I'm no good. I deserve this because I'm bad, right? But again, like going back to this story, everything that we get, everything that comes up in this life doesn't really have any self nature. We put this good and bad on it, all right? But in and of itself, it's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad, right? And the more and more that we can just let go of that distinction, then the more easily we can actually just work with what is, right? We don't need to push it away, you know. We don't need to be. A lot of people, especially a lot of people I know, when they come to meditation, they first start meditating, they get serious about meditating, and maybe they have like a experience of like, oh, this is very peaceful, right? You know, they get a lot of like good feelings sometimes from meditation, but it's very easy to get attached to those, right? So like, oh, then the next time you meditate, oh man, it's not so peaceful, right? And then all of a sudden my practice is shit. Meditation shit. I'm shitty at meditation. This fucking practice doesn't work. This is stupid, right? Because it's not what we wanted, right? But the only thing that's making it not what we want is I don't want this. This isn't right. I don't like this. It's not quite good enough, right? That judgment that kind of like seeps in, you know. Um, so really a big part of practicing is just learning to, as we become aware of like what's going on, not not making bad or good, you know. This is all it's all just to your life. It's all just to your experience right now. If you don't like it, it's gonna change, you know. If you like it, well, it's gonna change too. So, don't hold these likes and dislikes, you know. This is the most important thing. Um, you know, so for me right now in my life, you know, um, it's been summer break, which has been lovely. Spend so much time with my son and family. He's so great. I just love him. He's like a little unicorn. Um, but it's also really tough. You know, there's very little structure, and he gets kind of spun out, and it's tough. And it's tough for me to kind of like do things that I feel like I need to do. Um, you know, uh, some family members that I really care about who are very sick, and that's very difficult. Um, and if I just kind of stay on these things, and just kind of ruminate on how difficult it is, how much I don't like it, how much I don't want it, how unfair it is that, you know, these things are happening, or experiencing these things, right? Then it becomes really difficult. And it becomes impossible for me to show up in the way that I need to show up, you know, for my son, for my family, you know, for others, for people on the line, right? I'm only holding my own stuff, you know. Um, there's a Kongon that I've been kind of working on, and Kongons and Zen are like these the kind of questions that you hear, um, with the sound of one hand clapping and these kinds of questions. Um, and for me, Zen Master Sung San always said, if you keep your true direction, you keep your true direction 100%, then everything is no problem. Your life is no problem. right? And so this original direction is only for you, only for you. Each moment, how can I help? How can I help you? How can I help you? Only always keeping that in mind. That's our original direction, right? So, you know, that sounds really nice, and that's beautiful. How many of us actually keep that mind moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment? You know? So, the questions I always come back to with that are like, okay, what is it that keeps me from being able to keep that direction? You know, when I notice that I am maybe I'm a little short with people, maybe I'm feeling a little grouchy, right? What's going on there? You know, because at that moment, maybe I'm I'm not so able to keep that original direction, not really able to embody that. So what's going on there? What happens when that comes up? What keeps us from being able to keep that direction? I don't like this. This experience I'm having, I don't like it. I, me, right? So my attention is focused on my feelings, how the sensations maybe in my body, right? Maybe tired, maybe like some pain. I don't like this. I don't want this. And at that moment, I'm just consumed with myself, right? So I can't show up. I can't keep my original direction. I can't do my job, my real job, you know. So more and more, I try to be aware of this. And at that moment when I notice this, I'm like, okay, coming back, what's going on? I see this kind of clinging. I see this like, attaching to, physical sensation. That's a big one. Like so many of us understand like how kind of trauma sort of lives in your body. Pain lives in your body, right? And so maybe like sensations in your body, like tightness, pain, whatever it is, you become aware of that tightness, whatever that in itself gives rise to anxiety, gives rise to, sadness, fear, you know, because it's a reaction our body learns, right? So, being aware of that, examining it, not judging it, you know. And then we say, like, our practice is really about making our center strong, making a strong center so that, you're not pulled away by all these things. You come back again and again. And, there's a physical sensation to that, but it's also just this again and again and again, opening, 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 So everyone's going to get attached. Everyone's going to like have those likes and dislikes, have those strong desires, those strong aversions, right? But when that happens, like we can't do our job. So noticing that, noticing what's going on, right? What's going on? Why am I so got this anxiety? And I'm just like, God, I feel like I'm on fire. What can I do? And we notice that. Okay. What are you trying to do there? You're trying to get out of that? Trying to push that away? You're trying to change it, trying to like uh trying to make it something different in your mind, you know. Um I had this experience it was a while back, and had this like was a Dharma teacher conference, whatever, in the Quantum School of Zen. It's like hundreds of people, you know, Zen masters, Dharma teachers, H.O.P.E who are like guiding teachers. And I had this experience, and where I was kind of talking, and no one else noticed this. Like I talked to a lot of people who were there, and no one else had this impression or whatever. I got the impression very strongly, like, oh, I'm, putting on a little show here. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to like act like I know what I'm talking about a little bit, you know. And I had this really, really visceral and deep just reaction of just shame and uh, remorse, and it felt like I was really letting like my teachers down and my practice down, and all this that I was putting on this little show, you know. And again, like no one noticed this but me, but I knew I was doing it, right? Um, and so then like the next like few days, I just kept thinking about this, and it made me physically sick. I lost like 13 pounds in a week because it kept making me so sick every time I would think about it. And then, be in the throes of this, and then I notice, try to be kind of recontextualizing it in my head, right? So in my mind, I was kind of like sort of, trying to change the story, trying to change the narrative. And I remember seeing that, just feeling like, God, what a trap this all is, right? You know, constantly like constantly just in this trap, this futile circle of just ugh, you know. And finally it was just kind of like, what is this? What is this? I don't know. And then, for those of you, some of you, you know, uh, I've been fortunate enough to get to know a bit outside of here, and we've been talking a little bit. Um, so maybe you have more of a context for what this don't know mind is. And then we talk about a lot in Zen, particularly in the Korean Zen tradition I practice in. But this don't know is not, I don't know, I don't get it, I don't have the answer, right? This don't know is well, like the name for just your mind before thinking. When you know who are you? Who are you before your mother's born? You know, who are you? What is your original face before your mother was born? That kind of just everything sort of stops, right? There's no conceptual way to understand that question. There's no conceptual way to really answer that question if you truly, truly ask it, if you truly look at that, right? What am I? You know? So don't know is the name for this mind before thinking, right? So coming back to this again and again is what we call making our center strong. So again, like life always going to throw these questions at you, always going to throw, these situations at you where you're just stuck. You're just stuck, you know, and you can try to change it in your mind. You can try to recontextualize it in your mind. You can try to sort of make yourself look good in your mind, right? But it's just this spinning, you know, and there's no real relief for that. So really, you just that stuckness, like, what is this? What am I? What am I? Don't know. And the more and more we come back to that, the more things actually really, really clear up. Because from that place, we're not making likes and dislikes. We're not making this and that. We're not making self and other. So from that place, you know, we're able to keep that direction only for you. How can I help? So, I understand that kind of notion of like, how can I help? What can I do for you? Um, that can feel really pointless when your experience is, but no one's doing anything for me, right? Like, what about me, right? But if that's an experience that you have, if that's something that comes up for you, I want you to look at it. I want you to look at that. What do you want? What is it that you think would make you happy? Hmm? What would it take? So you look around this world, right? What everybody thinks they want is money. Everybody just, if I had this, if I had money, if I had this amount of money, like, man, I'd be set. I'd be so happy, right? But look at the fucking Trumps of the world. Look at the Elon Musks of the world. Look at these people. They're ridiculous. Do they embody like a real sense of happiness to you? Just constantly engaged in like this petty back and forth and like, more money than the pharaohs of Egypt, and still it's not enough. That seems like happiness, right? No, right? So that's not it. Oh, if I just had this person, if I just had this relationship, that would make me happy, right? Then you get a relationship, right? Oh, but they're maybe if I could just change them a little bit, if they would just do this and if they would do this, right? Like then it would be okay. Not quite good enough. So always, 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 right? Where we have this mind of like, not enough, right? I don't like this. Okay. So if we can truly, truly start to just work with, okay, I feel, I see this sense of discontentment. Okay. Maybe it's not the situation. What if I can just be in this situation? And it doesn't have to be bad or good. It doesn't have to be wrong or right. It's just what it is right now. Okay. I don't have to like it. I don't have to dislike it. Right. If you can truly start to practice that, your whole life will change. Okay. The truth is, most people, to some extent, spend their entire lives engaged in this negative thought circle about shit that never happened. Having this negative conversation about shit that never happened. They may never happen, right? But it's just always going around, you know. And that's kind of the predicament that we're in, you know. And so we're always practicing, but we're practicing our anger, we're practicing our sense of being unfulfilled, we're practicing, you know, our anxiety, we're practicing our depression, but just passively just engaging in these thoughts, this round and round and round. And I 100% know that it is not easy to practice something different. It's not easy to start to really, really practice this. Okay, not good, not bad, it's just what it is. Don't know. I understand that that's not easy, especially at the beginning, and it takes a lot of courage because this is what we've been doing our whole life. And in a fucked up way, that's what feels right, you know. But, everybody here understands that though that might feel like natural, that might feel, uh, that habit feels like even home in a way, like it's not helping. Does it make your life better? Right? Does it open things up for you? You know. So it's important that we really, really engage in our practice, you know. And practice can look different. I'm not saying everybody has to practice Zen, you know. Um, there's the Buddha taught 84,000 different ways, to reach the same place, because of all the different karma that people have, right? So one practice isn't great for one person, might be perfect for somebody else, you know. So everyone has to find what that is, right? But it can't just be a practice of, I like this. It can't just be a practice of, okay, like this makes me feel peaceful for now. It needs to go further than that. You need to start to be able to sort of like break down this this lens that you're seeing the world through, you know. Um, so Zen Master Sengsan always said, I hope you only try, go straight 10,000 years nonstop, attain enlightenment, save all beings from suffering. So I know a lot of you are still finding your practice, still discovering what practice means. If you ever have questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm gonna have a lot more time once summer break is over. Um, you know, not as like your teacher or anything like that, but just if as a friend on the path, if you have questions, um, I'm happy to have a conversation, because I just can't stress enough how important it is to like find a practice that has a real bone to it. There's a lot of meditation, good feeling meditation out there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not bad. Okay? It's not bad, not good, right? But again, we're only looking for good feeling. We're only looking for that like nice feeling. Okay? When you get a nice feeling, when you get something good, you also get something bad. Because that good thing will change, maybe not right away, right? But even the second time, oh, it's not as fresh. It's not the same way I experienced it before. That's no good. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, right? So I hope that you all got something from this, and that you will really engage with that question and really start to just play with that. Can I just be curious about this experience, about this moment? What's coming up with that? What's up? What's coming up for me without making it good, without making it bad? What happens? What happens if I do that? What happens to this experience if all of a sudden it's not bad? What happens to my anxiety if all of a sudden, you know, okay, this isn't, I don't have to dislike this. This is just my experience. I don't have to be afraid of it, right? I don't have to try to get out of it. I don't have to want something else. There's nothing better. This is your whole life. Your whole life is just this moment, again and again and again, right? Our mind creates this illusion of continuity, but it's only this moment. So I hope you all will play with that and sincerely, look at that. Ask yourself those questions, um, and keep trying, keep going. We're all in it together. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, brother. Let me turn off the recording here.